Life moves in cycles with pivotal points for transforming and manifesting along the way. Cycle Points guides you through those points using the moon's reliable journey every 4 weeks to help you uncover personal patterns, follow intuitive insights, and adapt your plans to your unique life story. The lunar cycle can be a tool for strategically planning your goals across multiple life areas. It serves to develop awareness of personal behaviors and helps us to refine our paths to growth. Cycle Points is a self development method that blends lunar astrology with life planning, using the messages and themes of the zodiac to time your actions, adjust your goals, and make decisions with clarity and purpose. The moon is your guide. Each month, we begin a journey of growth and development in one of the 12 signs, focusing on a specific theme. This month, we focus on Pisces with the theme of release in order to idealize our visions. The moon then travels in a counterclockwise direction through all of the zodiac signs over the next 4 weeks. During its journey, the moon will apply the messages it received from Pisces during its initial dark balsamic stage through all of the other areas of our lives. These areas are flavored by their own zodiac themes, and it gives us an opportunity to see how our desires for growth need to be alchemized into all the aspects of our day to day with realistic and flexible outcomes. At the end of this cycle, the moon will return to Pisces to review the clarity and developments that have transpired during the month, and also to make choices as to how these stories will continue to play out over the year to follow. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac calendar. This is the final new moon we will experience, encapsulating all of the other new moons and their new beginnings that have taken place since April of last year. This is an incredibly potent period to reflect and take actionable steps towards the goals that you've been working on now that you're able to dream even greater potential. The Pisces lunar cycle begins on Friday, February the 28th, and it will run straight through until Friday, March the 28th. Pisces' theme is to release in order to idealize, so that we can grow, so that we can see beyond the potential of what we thought we were capable of or what we thought was going to happen. We need to let go of fears. We need to let go of insecurities. We need to let go of past dreams in order to dream of new dreams. This cycle is characterized and marked by the water element. Water represents our emotions. It's heavy in the way that it is thick and it takes time. It means that we need to be patient and we have to feel in order to grow when we're working with the element of water. And so as we work with Pisces over the course of the next 4 weeks, it is an emotional element and it asks us to step into our creative side by really looking at how we feel. So not just our creative side in terms of like art and music and all those things, but also just in terms of being the natural creators of our lives. And so when we do so and we start to look at past attachments that we have to things, relationships that we have attachments to that maybe don't support the ways that we want to grow and move forward. We need to, if not release those relationships, we certainly can take the time to see how conversations may need to happen and changes may need to occur in order to shift those relationships so that we are being supported, so that we are being seen. And when we're able to do that and let go of any fears we have surrounding those conversations or surrounding the actual letting go of those relationships or situations, then we can actually start to dream about what's possible. We no longer have emotions or energies that are tied to past. We have now those energies have the freedom to see what's possible. Not only that, they have the freedom to explore other people who can also share what's possible. And I think that this is such an important, incredible time to focus on what we can imagine and also to be compassionate with ourselves and with others as we are seeing that. We have to look at other people in their own growth and we have to understand and let them grow and sit and support that. So it's really about letting our ego come out of this and feeling not only what is valuable to us moving forward, important to us moving forward, but also important to the people that we care about, we love, and we want to support them moving forward as well. Yet, as we dream and vision, as we feel into all the possibilities that we can see, we also see ourselves move through all the areas of our lives and all of our relationships and all of our obligations and commitments and routines and responsibilities. And we start to understand where we need to let go of some stuff in order to make room for the new things that we want to add on to the other things that we're currently building. The main focus is what is it that we're focusing on building in this lifetime, and then how can we continue to work with the cycles that will support that every time. So how are we going to do that within this cycle? There may come some release. There may come a lot of letting go. This is also a potent period because while it is not an eclipse itself, it is part of this eclipse season. And eclipses are really about very significant times to focus on release and also to focus on going towards what it is that you want to grow. And you'll notice on this slide that when we get to that full moon in Virgo on March the 14th, that is an eclipse, and that's a lunar eclipse, and it's asking us to let go of old schedules and old routines and old obligations and old commitments and old use of our personal resources, the way that we take care of ourselves or don't take care of ourselves, and all of those things, so that we can start to support the new dream and start to support the new vision. But also, Pisces is the healer. And so how can we support our daily habits and support in the things that we are creating and that we are building within our lifetime? How can we ensure that as we are doing so, we are doing so from a place that allows us to care for ourselves, and then also, because we can care for ourselves, be able to take care of other people. So this energy will play itself out over the course of the next 4 weeks in terms of the cycle points that we work with. We work with the 4 points of the moon, which are the new moon you see here in Pisces. Then we move in that counterclockwise direction to the first quarter moon, which will be in Gemini. The full moon, as just mentioned, is a lunar eclipse, and that will be in Virgo. And the last quarter moon will be in Capricorn. One of every cycle is about receiving clarity as to the changes that are coming, the things that we want to grow, the ways in which we want to evolve. Week 2 is about gathering awareness. We are learning how we can make improvements as to the clarity, as to the changes, as to how we can grow, and also improvements to our world and our daily experience in order to support the changes that we'd like to see happening. Week 3 is about showing up in accountability and showing others the dreams and the visions and the plans, talking about it, and acting as if, as we like to say, when we start to actually act on it and make it real in our worlds, to see what that looks like and how it's received by other people. The full moon naturally also sheds light on other people's experiences, what they are currently working on, that how the theme is moving through their everyday life experience. And so whether or not our worlds work together on common goals and on common interests and on common themes and places, or do we need to make some choices in week 4 as to what that will look like moving forward in order for us to have a strong foundation? What needs to be released so that we can continue to build and dream and grow in a way that supports us and feels good and feels right, versus what needs to be let go of that kind of feels outdated or is no longer serving us, and we are no longer really serving whatever way that we used to contribute to that in the same positive manner. Pisces water energy will infuse the entire 4 weeks of this cycle. Water will help us carry our emotions through. Water can tend to be, especially with Pisces, water is boundless. It is open. It just can be so overflowing. We can become overstimulated. We can be overly welcome to things that allow us to dream and to vision. There are many things that come with that watery vibe, but when we use the water and use it to move through the other signs and the other points of the cycle, we are really able to feel our way through, to understand truly in our hearts what needs to be let go of, so that we can truly in our hearts expand and grow towards potential that we didn't see possible. So, that first week, we are developing clarity under the theme of idealizing. When we get to the second week, we are developing awareness as to what needs to be improved upon when it comes to the way that we process information and how we interact in our environment so that we can then communicate, so that we can then act upon the things that we've processed and learned about and develop our goals and our plans even further. In the third week, as we have already mentioned, we work through accountability as the moon is in Virgo in the lunar eclipse phase. And Virgo's theme is all about the management. How are we able to take care of the way that we manage ourselves, our own health, our own well being, the way that we manage others, the way that we work with other people, and the way that we manage our duties and our responsibilities. When we're being held accountable for those, we are also seeing how other people are how other people are showing up in their roles and how they, factor into the way that we are able to care for them or they're able to help care for us. In week 4, we're then working with the theme of build under Capricorn. Capricorn is a stable energy that wants to build foundation. So now that we've moved through what needs to, or as we are moving through, what needs to be released in order to continue to grow the dreams that we have for ourselves, Capricorn is going to ask us to make some pretty solid choices at the end of the cycle as to how we want to follow through now. What is in our best interest in terms of how we can use our resources in order to best take care of ourselves in a way that will allow us to grow the things that we want to do, to continue to build upon the dreams and the visions, and how also are we able to release what is not going to allow us to do so, to release the things that are taking away from us being able to care for ourselves to the best of our abilities and to grow our dreams in the best of our abilities. So let's get into week 1 of the Pisces lunar cycle. Pisces swims beyond what is known to discover what is possible. Its archetype is the healer. Pisces is compassionate and empathetic. It is imaginative and dreamy, adaptable and versatile, intuitive and spiritually inclined. Week 1 of the Pisces lunar cycle begins on Friday, February the 28th with the new moon. Week 1 takes us from Pisces into Aries and then Taurus energy. The clarity that we receive from Pisces is about how we're going to release and idealize our plans for the future. That energy is then supported by Aries, which is represented by the color red on the calendar here. And Aries energy comes in with creative action that we can start to take. It will give us that drive that wants to push us to take the next steps. And Taurus energy, which is green here on the calendar, is about grounding it in. So clarity on ways in which we can ground in what needs to be released and also ways in which we can ground in the visions that are coming. The new moon in Pisces is a time for release, surrender, and idealizing the bigger picture. As the final sign of the zodiac, Pisces asks us to reflect on the past 11 months, shedding our fears, shedding our attachments, and letting go of limiting beliefs that no longer serve our growth. This cycle encourages us to take deep, intuitive insights into where our dreams and visions can now evolve, while also fostering compassionate letting go of what no longer aligns. Over the next 4 weeks, we're invited to dream freely, communicate our ideas, and refine our resources to prepare for the next cycle of creation. Let's look at practical applications for working with Pisces energy. As we're moving through the energies that come up, as you take some time to sit back and meditate and receive the thoughts and the feelings that are coming up for you at this time, you can write them down. You can write them down and you can practice a releasing ritual. Under the Pisces cycle, I would encourage you to flush them down the toilet if you wanted to write them out and onto a piece of paper and then rip them up and flush them down the toilet. Also, working with Pisces, we can create vision boards and we can do so without boundaries, without limitations. Really think about what you want your ideal reality to look like. You can also use other visualization techniques to imagine the next chapter of your life unfolding and learn to feel the emotions of what it will look like when you get there, when you have success, and when you do have fulfillment in bringing all of your dreams to fruition. Pisces encourages compassionate alignment. We can identify those people and places and things that share our values and visions, and we can reach out to discuss our ideas and co create or even seek guidance. We can remain open to unexpected connections that come up and synchronicities. Pisces very often works with subtle intuitive nudges. We can also recognize where others are on their own journeys, and we need to release our need for control over their paths. Pisces wants us to lean into taking inspired action. We can identify small but meaningful steps that can lead us into taking our vision to the next level. We can also focus on integrating what we've learned over the past year that we are now able to expand within the next coming year. And we can trust the flow and allow inspiration to guide us rather than forcing rigid plans and forcing things to happen before they're ready. And also if they're not ready at all. As the moon transitions from Pisces to Aries on Saturday, March the 1st, emotions and creativity are ignited by Aries' fiery energy, sparking bold new visions. Aries' assertive and determined nature pushes past fear and doubt and replaces them with clarity and drive to take action. This shift propels us to release the old and pursue our goals with confidence and independence. Pisces enters Aries, water meets fire, and the healer meets the trailblazer. How is the trailblazer going to take all of the things that we are healing in terms of the past stories, the past beliefs, the past things that were holding us back in terms of fears and insecurities, what we thought was going to happen that is not even possible anymore? And what is she going to do with them? How can she light it all on fire to create something new? Or how can she use that creative spark that's starting to form within her to dream further about what's possible and start taking creative steps? And the trailblazer underwater. The trailblazer is courageous and energetic, assertive and independent, impulsive and spontaneous, passionate and competitive. Aries underwater can be emotional. Aries can really want what it wants coming from the heart. And so, therefore, it can go after it aggressively and it can be spontaneous and quite impulsive as it is releasing what is not going to serve in order to go after what will serve. In working with the Aries energy, we can set bold goals and take first steps. Start by writing down a vision statement for what you want to accomplish over the next few weeks. You can also break down big dreams into small, immediate steps, like sending an email or applying for an opportunity or starting a project that you've been hesitating on. And it's important to speak your intentions out loud to take accountability for them and show up in terms of making them a reality. Aries encourages us to embrace independence and self assertion. As we are letting go of past beliefs and letting go of people, places, and things that are not really serving where it is that we want to go, we can assert ourselves in conversations to get what we need and to express our desires and to stand firm in our decisions to develop that confidence. We can also, as we release and free up energy and free up time, we can challenge our things to do something solo that will further boost our enthusiasm and our confidence, like going traveling or attending an event or working on a personal passion project. And if collaboration is necessary and we're not able to fully release or let go, but and also if we want to collaborate and work together, we can also choose to take the lead or make more efforts to make the big decisions so that we're able to influence what is happening into alignment as to our own personal goals. Aries also encourages us to release to make space for the new. So we can declutter our physical and digital spaces to create fresh environments that support the new beginnings. We can identify those limiting beliefs and then consciously replace them with more empowering ones through affirmations. We can write things, we can include them in our environments in pretty ways that make Pisces happy to work on that art tie. And we can also cut ties with habits or commitments or relationships that no longer align with our current direction and where we want to be. As the moon then moves into Taurus during the end of the first week of the Pisces lunar cycle, it grounds our dreams by highlighting the resources and the dedication that's going to be needed in order to bring them to life. Taurus encourages steady, practical efforts, emphasizing long term stability and commitment to building something of value. This phase asks us to assess where we are willing to invest hard work to transform our aspirations into reality. The materialist is practical and stable, persistent and determined, loyal and dependable, sensual and pleasure seeking. The materialist is happy under Pisces water because she is sensitive and because she is loyal and because she likes to feel good. And Pisces likes to feel good. Pisces likes to experience things as well. But Taurus energy provides an earthiness, provides a more practical experience where we can start to take the emotions that are tied to all of our fears and insecurities that we're busy letting go of during this Pisces cycle. And we can start to ask what we're going to build with those things. What are we going to choose to put our efforts and our resources towards moving forward based on what we're able to release? So when we release emotions with Pisces, we're freeing up energy. We're freeing up energy that was tied to other people or tied to time that took up space in our world, time to situations or experiences or environments. And so when we free that up, we're given resources. We can use those resources to continue to further to build our dreams, which is something that the Taurus energy is very excited to do. One way to work with Taurus energy is to commit to small, consistent action along the way. When we look at our dreams and our visions that we're trying to build, it can be overwhelming. Or when we look at things that we want to let go of, that can be overwhelming. It's important to break down our long term dreams into manageable steps. It's also important for us to set realistic and tangible goals and give ourselves some clear deadlines and some milestones so that we can start to reach those things and see our progress happening. We can also focus by putting things into our daily routines that will reinforce our progress. So if we're wanting to do something new that requires learning a new skill, it's important to create that time within our days and also to learn how we can provide other methods of refining our craft. Taurus wants to create secure growth. We need to evaluate our work environments and our house environments to see if it supports our goals. We also have to make some practical changes that will enhance our productivity, like reorganizing or setting up new schedules instead of making it chaotic and where we feel like we're always trying to catch the wheel. And then we also need to strengthen our personal boundaries in order to protect the time and the energy that we have so that we can structure and work consistently towards bringing our goals to fruition. Taurus is asking us to invest in long term growth. It wants us to look at what we're creating and it wants us to take the time to focus on quality over quantity, whether it's in our relationships or our projects or our financial decisions. Taurus wants us to look for ways to build even further security by looking to mentors and people that have done this before or experts in their fields that can provide us with guidance and teach us how to build sustainable progress. And Taurus, lastly, is going to encourage us to nurture partnerships with other people and other environments that are going to align with our values and our ambitions. Taurus is looking at what is the true value of what it is that we're trying to create so that we can use our resources in the best way possible with the most efficiency so that we're able to do all the things that we want to do in this lifetime. And this energy will carry us in as the moon transitions into Gemini and the first quarter moon, which brings us to week 2 of the Pisces lunar cycle. The first quarter moon occurs on Thursday, March the 6th in Gemini and brings us awareness as to how we process information, how we receive information from other people, how we are able to then communicate our thoughts about that information, and how we are also able to use that information in order to adapt and remain flexible and change our plans so that we can continue to work towards the things that we want to work with. So really here, the ask this week is to look to how we can improve the way we communicate and how we can detach from emotions so that we're able to digest information appropriately and decide logically what we would like to do with that information moving forward. This phase of awareness begins in Gemini as we improve upon the way that we process, receive, and communicate our information. And then it also provides opportunity for us to work upon how we can improve our boundaries and the way that we nurture the things that we're trying to grow as we move through the sign of Cancer, followed by the sign of Leo, which will ask us to make improvements upon the way that we want to be seen and respected and loved for the skills that we have and the talents that we have to offer in light of all these wonderful things and visions that we're trying to create. With the first quarter moon in Gemini, we have the healer meeting the messenger. The healer is coming in with all of this stuff that has been surfacing or coming closer to us for clarity in terms of relationships, in terms of stories that have been holding us back from where we want to grow, in terms of the things that we want to evolve, and in terms of the dreams and the visions that we are now starting to see as possibilities with even more potential. The messenger is going to come and deliver information, be that through different experiences in your everyday environment, be it through us actually taking it upon ourselves to ask information about our plans and our projects, or even to inquire or communicate more within our relationships to see where other people are coming from and to gain their perspectives to see if they can be helpful to us in some way, or if we can support one another, or if it's better to give each other space so that we're able to work on our things independently at this time. It's a very interesting energy to have the healer work with the messenger. When Pisces meets Gemini, water meets air. Gemini is the messenger. It's dual natured and intellectual, curious and social, communicative and versatile, adaptable and quick thinking. The messenger wants to work with information, and Pisces wants to work with feelings. So, as Pisces is swimming beyond the boundaries and feeling all the feelings to see what's coming up next and what we need to let go of, Gemini is gathering information and providing information as we move through our everyday experiences, through interactions at a coffee shop or at the library or at school or at work. We are able to gather. It doesn't even have to be our own stories, but we can be hearing stories around us that therefore influence the way we are feeling about other aspects of our own lives, so that it gives us different lenses to look at our relationships and to look at the projects that we're currently involved with and where we want to grow, or the work that we're currently involved with and how we want to um, progress ourselves in that area of our lives to continue to build towards the legacy we hope to imagine for ourselves. During the first quarter moon in Gemini, we're shown where we need to improve upon our communication and the way that we exchange information within our networks so that we can advance our goals. Conversations and interactions offer insights, and this helps us to recognize where we have shared interests with other people. It helps us to gain new perspectives, and it shows us where there's opportunities for release and reinvention based on the things that we want to create. Gemini is all about the gathering and processing of information. During this time, we can practice active listening, and we can really practice our clear articulation when we are in conversation with others to make sure that our views and our thoughts are being heard. We can engage in discussions that challenge our perspectives and encourage growth. And we can journal our insights from those interactions where we can reflect on the advice that were receiving at that time. And we can start to look at new ideas that can help to strengthen our projects moving forward. Gemini wants us to establish a supportive network. It asks that we reach out to other like minded individuals. It wants us to join other events or join communities that align with our goals so that we can continue to learn from one another and push our ideas forward. It wants us to reach out to people that we trust, to mentors for constructive criticism, to understand where other people are coming from and how they see what we're doing so that we can learn from them in their own experience and put it towards our own efforts. And also, I think very importantly, under the theme of processing, Gemini asks us to define what information and energy we're willing to accept and take from others. Gemini will is constantly taking in information to process, and so as we do so and as we reach out, who are we reaching out to, and when we do reach out to them, how are we receiving that information? There needs to be some sort of filter which allows us to understand what the message that is being given actually is, and that is not tied to our ego or the way that we might feel when we are defensive about criticism. From improvements upon how we process and communicate information to progress our developments further, the moon will then enter into Cancer, asking for boundaries and improvements to the way that we protect these dreams and visions that we're trying to build further, and to protect ourselves from energies that are not in alignment with what it is that we'd like to grow. Cancer energy stirs emotions that are tied to our past, our upbringing, and sense of security, making it both comforting and challenging to break free from familiar patterns. This phase encourages us to deeply feel what is worth nurturing and recognize what must be released in order to support our growth. Here we have the healer meeting Cancer, the nurturer. Cancer is a water sign as well. The nurturer is emotional and sensitive, nurturing and caregiving, protective and defensive, imaginative and creative. When the healer meets the nurturer, we are gathering our strength to support ourselves moving through this cycle. And Cancer really does want to support Pisces' need to release the things that are holding us back in order to allow us to grow. And Cancer then wants to set up protective boundaries to support the things that we want to nurture and grow. Cancer here is looking to have boundaries that will protect our dreams and our visions moving forward. And it's asking us to look to our upbringing and our past and our familial stories that we have grown up with that might be telling us things that are holding us back from believing that it's possible for us to continue to grow in the direction that we'd like to go. Cancer asks that we work with limiting beliefs and take note of any old narratives about who we think we have been and what we are capable of achieving. Cancer wants us to challenge the thoughts that tell us to play it safe, and it wants us to practice affirmations that will reinforce our ability to grow beyond our past. The water energy of Cancer wants us to connect with our intuition. Just as when we're working with Pisces, it's important for us to pay attention to our gut feelings when we're making our decisions. We can also engage in meditation, visualization, or dream work to clarify what's truly important for us to nurture at this time. And we can use other creative outlets like art and music or movement to process our emotions and bring light to our inner world. Another way to work with Cancer during this stage is to create an emotional action plan. Maybe identify small action steps that can help move us towards our goals while still maintaining our emotional safety. We need to plan moments of rest and reflection so that we don't get overwhelmed by all the emotions that we're trying to process. And also, there's a balance between honoring our past and embracing our future possibilities. Making these choices to release and let go of things is a very difficult time, to say the least. And even though there's so much hope and potential in what is to come, it's very hard to work through those energies. And Cancer is truly asking us to mother ourselves here, to take care of ourselves, to honor the things that are coming up, and to, instead of making I guess, defensive and rash emotional decisions about our relationships or our experiences, to try to protect and nurture them as well, even when we might feel like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. The moon will then transition from Cancer into the fiery sign of Leo. Leo encourages bold self expression and the full embodiment of our dreams. It wants to highlight our talents and it invites us to refine our visions even further and step confidently into the roles that we wish to play. This is a time to embrace our creativity and be courageous, playful, as we shape how we want to be seen and how we want to be admired. At this stage of the Pisces lunar cycle, the healer meets the performer. How does Leo's fire perform underwater? The performer is confident and charismatic, generous and warm, has leadership and star qualities, and is creative and expressive. Leo wants to shine. Leo wants to take everything that we feel so passionate and deeply about, and all the visions that we can see, and all the ideals and potential and possibility, and Leo wants to show the world what we think we can do with it. Leo asks that we own our presence. We engage in activities that allow us to showcase our talents, that we let our creativity flow without any self doubt, and that we step confidently into spaces where our voices and ideas can be seen and heard. Embody the role you aspire to. One of my favorite things to say is to act as if. When we start to act as if and we start to bring that into our world and we make it real, we start to see how the things that we want to see happen for us can be made possible, how it looks in our own reality, how it looks to other people, and how other people are accepting of it and encouraging it and supporting of it, or not for that matter. But whether it's your career or your relationships or your personal projects, when you act as if, you start to acknowledge and refine the qualities that you want to be recognized for. Also, your passion is contagious. When we share it with our community, it then starts to get other people excited about the things that we are doing, but it also starts to cement this new version of ourselves amongst our people. And it gives us even more motivation to keep going and keep building it stronger and stronger and shining in our own authentic light. Confidence is built through action. We can use guided meditations and journaling to start imagining what it feels like to be fully seen and appreciated for our talents. Also, experiment with new approaches, dress differently, dance, laugh, go out, try new things that allow you to fully step into your feelings and your passion and what really want to makes you move and enjoy the process of creating. Let yourself be appreciated as you go out and show yourself for your unique contributions and allow this energy to motivate even further growth. As long as you are acting as if and you're putting yourself forward and it's coming from your heart and it feels good and it feels right for you, you start to align yourself, your light will shine and naturally magnetize to you ways that you can further develop it. And here we arrive at week 3 of the Pisces lunar cycle and the full moon lunar eclipse under the sign of Virgo. The full moon lunar eclipse occurs on Friday, March the 14th, and it brings us into the accountability stage of the lunar cycle. Here, we're looking at the theme of how we are able to manage the way that we take care of ourselves, our responsibilities, our health, our mental health, and our overall well being, as well as the people that are dependent on us. And how we are going to be able to do that given the things that we are releasing and given the things that we are idealizing into our future that we'd like to make it a part of our reality. This stage of accountability begins in Virgo and it carries through the signs of Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius as it progresses throughout the week. Beginning with Virgo, we look at how we are managing our resources in the process of letting go and freeing ourselves in order to dream and envision more possibilities for the future. It then looks to our relationships and how we show up in our relationships and how they are showing up for us as we are moving through this cycle of release and new potentials that are possible. Then we move into Scorpio a little bit later in the week, and Scorpio is asking for us to look at the way that we share our resources with our other people as we are moving forward, the way that we can divide resources that are no longer going to be used the same way, and the way that we can merge resources so that they can be used together in order to further potential for mutual growth. And lastly, we will work with the sign of Sagittarius at the end of this phase of the accountability and showing up in the way that we can now expand upon our experience and expand upon our knowledge. So be that through ways we want to further our education, the ways that we want to publish the things that we know so that other people can learn from us, and the ways in which we can interact with new people, foreign places, and gain different perspectives and different belief systems so that we can integrate them within our own and really hone in on what is important for us to take back that we can put towards this grander vision of what we hope to bring forward into the next cycle of growth and development. The Virgo full moon of the Pisces lunar cycle highlights how we manage our responsibilities, health, and obligations while manifesting our personal dreams. As a lunar eclipse, it urges us to release outdated systems and routines that no longer align with our goals, setting the stage for long term transformation that will occur over the next 18 months and even longer 18 years ahead. This is a powerful time to reassess our partnerships and refine our resource management, and also to collaborate with those who share our values for mutual growth. Pisces water meets Virgo earth, and the healer meets the perfectionist. How does the perfectionist swim in Pisces boundless water? The perfectionist is analytical and critical, detail oriented and logical, grounded and methodical, hardworking and diligent. The perfectionist is wanting us to get serious now about our resources, about our time, about the way that we are able to put our resources into our well being, including our physical health and our mental health, so that we are able to take care of everything that is important to us and grow the things that we want. We need a system that's going to be efficient. We need schedules that are going to run on time for us, and we need routines that are going to keep us going. So as we're looking at the things that we need to release and we're looking at the things that we are idealizing into our future, Virgo wants us to be real about that and real about the time that we have and the energy that we have and the emotions and the finances that we have that are going to support that. in setting us up for our long term vision and our long term cycle here that goes way beyond just the month, 4 weeks we're working with right now and the year ahead, and stepping farther into the 18 months ahead and the 18 years to follow that we talked about when we're looking at eclipse energies and their longer cycles. We want to look at ways that are going to support that. One way for us to do that is to declutter and organize our resources. It's a good time to sort through financial, physical, and mental resources to ensure that they align with priorities. Also, it's a good time to identify the habits and the schedules, the responsibilities that are taking too much of our resources and are not really serving the plans that we have for ourselves moving forward. It's a good time to purge those things that are unnecessary, the commitments, the subscriptions, the items that are costing us money that we don't even think about half the time because they're just things that we've become too comfortable with. We have to really get down to the nitty gritty and see what is draining ourselves of our energy so that we are able to support our progress. This is an opportunity to identify what our well being looks like. It makes us become aware of the obligations that we have that are far more stress inducing than they are encouraging growth and creativity. And here we are asked where we can set firmer boundaries or we can start to delegate responsibilities so that we don't have to feel that things are too burdensome and we don't end up with resentments, and we're able to delegate and share those resources with other people in different ways, where and it encourages their growth as well and them to switch out of their routines and stagnation so that they can evolve and take more responsibility for their own health and well-being. It's also a time for us to let go of self-criticism, and it's time to start looking at affirmations that support our growth and our adaptability, that tell us that we can do this and we can do change and it's not so scary. It's true though. And we can do that by incorporating these things into our daily routines. We can start to have journals and write affirmations into our journals. In the mornings when we're taking extra time to take care of ourselves and get ready for the day, it's an excellent time to practice meditation and step into the idea of putting ourselves and what is important to our well-being first so that we are able to fully step into taking care of all the things we want to grow moving forward. Virgo energy is very critical of self. It looks to how we want to be perfect and how we can perfect ourselves. And so it's an opportunity here as we're working with Pisces energy to recognize that and release things that may just be past stories that we've told ourselves, be more compassionate to ourselves, and understand who we are in light of all of our own personal experiences and how we can best support that in the way that we take care of ourselves on a day to day, not just in terms of how we have expected ourselves to be, but look at where we are now and really support that. This is an invaluable period to evaluate and optimize our daily routines as they are under the full light, and as we are able to see what has come up in the way that we've used to do things now that we have all these ideas of how we want to do things, and also the way that we used to do things now that we have insight into the things that are no longer serving us and that we would like to start to release and let go of. We can start to implement little changes here and there that help us to block out time so that we can start to improve our efficiency. We can also have conversations with people that have similar values and similar goals and similar experiences to what we are trying to grow into, to find ways that we can support one another, and also to find ways that we can adjust and adapt our current systems in ways that will allow us to become more efficient. We can be open to exchanging resources and skills and perspectives with other people so that we can create mutually beneficial opportunities. All these ways are going to help us to use our resources of time and money and emotions and energy more efficiently so that we are able to continue or to build this system that's going to allow us to sustain our energy over time and really allow us to enjoy and love and continue to build upon cycle after cycle. As the moon transitions into Libra and begins to wane from its fullness, we seek balance, beauty, and fair partnerships. It urges us to refine our collaborations and enhance what we are building. At this stage of the Pisces lunar cycle, we're called to assess the exchange of resources in our relationships, releasing those that no longer serve us while deepening the connections that align with our long term vision. With Pisces water meeting Libra's air, we have the healer meeting the diplomat. The diplomat is, of course, diplomatic and charming, fair minded and just, social and cooperative, indecisive and avoidant. Swimming under Pisces' expansive waters, The diplomat is looking at how we can create beauty from different perspectives, how we can look at all the possibilities that are ahead of us and the people that we can work with, and sharing our resources effectively and reciprocally so that we can create mutual growth, so that we can partner with other people and create new things to come. Libra wants us to evaluate the balance of our partnerships. This is an opportunity to reflect on the give and take of our relationships to see if they're mutually beneficial or if there are imbalances that need to be addressed. It's a chance for us to have honest conversations with our close connections about how we can better support each other's growth. And it's also a time for us to consider ending relationships that no longer align with our long term vision and values. Libra looks to cultivate peace and harmony. We can do so by looking at our environments, organizing them, beautifying them in order to make them more peaceful and inspiring. Also, we can look to learn how we can mediate our conflicts with grace. We can choose to make compromises that will allow parties to be heard and feel valued. We can engage in practices that help us to look for inner balance, and then that reflects in our external relationships. Libra wants to enhance creativity and collaboration. We can work on projects that blend beauty and functionality, choosing to focus on the aesthetics that bring balance and refinement to our work. We also can seek partnerships that complement our skills and enhance the final outcome of our creative or business endeavors. And lastly, we can collaborate with individuals or groups that share a vision for fairness and mutual success. In doing so, and in focusing on all these ways to work harmonically with other people, we really start to see which relationships are in support of that, and which relationships are really the ones that need to have boundaries put in place and have some conversations around to show other people and share with other people where we're trying to grow, so that they can decide for themselves whether they want to encourage that and support us in the ways that will be beneficial. From here, the moon shifts into Scorpio and is highlighting our emotional attachments. It's looking at ways that we are limiting our growth because we are stuck holding on to resources tied to people, resources tied to time or energy or finances that are tied to experiences that need to be released. They're tied to experiences where we're holding on because we're used to it and we don't want to let go. We're holding on to control because we're too scared to give it up and see where it might lead us. Scorpio's transformational energy allows for a redistribution of our resources, our finances, our creativity. It also presents an opportunity to overcome insecurities and any kind of possessiveness, needs for control, needs for power, and so that we are able to start recognizing our own personal power beyond our ego, that will allow us to see how we can use resources effectively, efficiently towards transforming them into our great creations that we hope to do in this lifetime. When Pisces water meets Scorpio water, we have the healer meeting the transmuter. The transmuter is intense and passionate, driven and ambitious, mysterious and private, and resilient and resourceful. The transmuter wants to take the resources and find ways to redistribute them so that we can continue to create, free of those needs for control, free of the emotions that are tied to our past things that are holding us back from believing that we can do more. So Scorpio swims quite well underneath Pisces water, but where Pisces is all about expansiveness and boundlessness, Scorpio really holds on to attachments. And so this is an opportunity for us to dive even deeper into our own inner being, inner balance, to determine how we can detach from those emotions and detach from the way that we are holding on and possessing over or grabbing onto control, not letting go of things, and not letting go of things in order to choose the other, in order to choose create going after the things that we're trying to move forward into new cycles of development. So in doing so, the healer really speaks to the transmuter and asks for us to be very honest about how we can really find all the things that we're passionate about, and then use all those emotions, all the fears, all the stuff that's in the back, in below us, and dig it up so that we can use it and we can find power within in order to transform it into usable resources to go after our visions and after our dreams. Working with this Scorpio energy is an opportune time to assess the way that we're sharing our resources to see if they are in alignment with the things that we'd like to create and to further refine and figure out where the things are that we need to release and let go of so that we can use that energy to progress our goals forward. We can review our financial and our emotional and our creative investments in terms of the relationships and the projects that we are putting our time into. We can also identify those areas where our energy is not being reciprocated and consider how we can make some adjustments or redistribute our time and our energy towards people and things that are going to help us towards common goals and our own personal goals. This is a perfect period of time to really practice mindfulness techniques such as meditation that will help us to draw away from our emotions in order to focus on the efficiency of those resources and how we can really drive into the bare bones of them, how we can find the rawest form of the emotions that we need to let go of so that we can free up the energy and the time that we put towards those attachments and start using them for the goals and the dreams and the visions that we're putting forward now. Scorpio asks that we transform emotional attachments that are holding us back. Anywhere where we feel that people have power and control over us, and also anywhere where we feel that we are holding on to power and control over outcomes and our own personal desires. This is an opportunity to journal about insecurities and fears that we have related to sharing our resources or related to certain partnerships that we are in fact involved with. It's also a time for us to identify where we feel possessive or jealous or have control issues that might be limiting our growth, and then finding ways that we can work towards releasing them. When we journal about them and meditate and even discuss them through talk therapy and other methods, we're able to strengthen our personal boundaries and we're able to start reclaiming our power and making choices that are based on our own inner confidence rather than looking for others to give us that external validation. The transmuting energies of Scorpio ask that we practice emotional alchemy. It wants us to dig down deep into those emotions and bring them up and redistribute them, find different ways to use them. Here we learn how to channel our intense emotions into projects, healing, or conversations that can then foster greater trust and intimacy in relationships, which will allow us to further merge our resources in greater ways that will expand our personal goals and our collective goals together. We can also then have open discussions about our mutual needs and explore new opportunities for ways for us to collaborate. Also, we focus on reallocating the resources that will support these long term growth plans that we have and that will allow us to create some level of sustainability rather than when we stick to outdated commitments and are then also trying to add in the new. We need to be able to let go and release the outdated so that we can focus on redistributing the resources and go after the new adventures, the new educational opportunities, the new things that are going to expand our knowledge and take our growth even further. This energy draws us into Sagittarius at the end of the third week of this Pisces lunar cycle. The moon in Sagittarius encourages exploration, expansion, and a mastery of our crafts. This phase invites us to seek new perspectives and connect with others. It wants us to explore opportunities that are going to help us to bring our dreams into reality. Through these interactions, we both learn from others and we're able to share our own growing expertise. With Pisces meeting Sagittarius, we have the healer meeting the explorer. The explorer is free spirited and adventurous, optimistic and positive, philosophical and intellectual, honest and direct. When the explorer is underneath Pisces' expansive, boundless, limitless waters, there is no stopping the possibilities that we can imagine. This is where the healer is asking us to come in and really look at where can we go as we release all these things that have been holding us back, when we get rid of the fears, when we have moved through this cycle and we have decided that, yes, indeed, we have the strength and we have the inner determination and power to come up with these creations in real life that we have in our dreams. Sagittarius gives us the opportunity to learn about how to do that even further, to go out and meet with new people, and also to share what we have already mastered so that we can gain further perspective on them and really expand on that and master it even further as we bring it back and work with different belief systems and different cultures and different people and what they think about what we have to share. So the explorer and Sagittarius work well together in terms of envisioning the future and in terms of not holding back and allowing ourselves to dream of everything that is possible. Sagittarius wants us to expand our knowledge. It asks that we take courses or workshops or books that will deepen our expertise and allow us to really hone in on the skills that we are working on to master our crafts and to progress our projects forward. It also encourages us to engage in discussions with mentors or people that are at expert levels so that we can learn their struggles, their experiences, and their successes, and we can incorporate that with our own guidelines and our own timelines for the things that we're trying to create. We can also do things like join forums or attend events or engage in online communities that align with our goals so that we can share our perspectives with other people. When we do that, we're able to gain feedback as to what others think about what we're putting out there. It allows us to refine our beliefs and refine what we find valuable. And it also helps us refine the groups and the people that we want to continue to learn from, how we can, kind of investigate and look down even clearer avenues that are going to allow us to really work on specific skills that are meant for us to master so that we can bring that in to the projects and the things that we're creating that are up as a part of our legacy. Sagittarius encourages us to explore new avenues. It wants us to use techniques such as journaling and meditation or affirmations that help to shift our mindset so that we start to believe in our growth and our expansion. It wants us to look into alternative ways to bring our projects to life, whether it's through new partnerships, new platforms, or any other kind of unconventional method. And if travel isn't an option, it wants us to explore virtual experiences or engage in conversations with people from different regions. When we're looking at how we can expand our new visions and our new ideas, now that we have these resources available to us, it's important to look outside of our regular inner circle of the people and the places and the things that we engage with all the time. We want to look to different avenues. We want to see how can we further our education. Does that mean that we engage in workshops through a college or through a university? Are there other programs that offer us ways for us to master our crafts? It wants us to connect with our own inner belief system so that we can then take that belief system and share it with other belief systems and merge them together, like really learn how we can expand and see beyond what would prevent us from growing, so that once we are able to go out and explore all these new ideas, we can come back and we can incorporate it into our way of being. And all of those all the knowledge that we pick up and all the experience that we gain just assists us in really becoming more than just an ego with emotions that are attached to it that just wants to have what we want. It allows us to see other people's perspectives and possibilities, which all in turn supports the idea of growth and potential that's beyond just what one of us can see for ourselves. Sagittarius asks that we teach and share the things that we're learning about in this lifetime so we can help others to learn and then teach and share their own expertise. So when we do that, we're looking for very clear, defined goals of what it is that we'd like to progress further. When we're teaching, it should be what is it that we're teaching? How can we solidify our expertise in that area? And how can we build valuable connections that will continue to allow us to do so? One way of working with this energy is to create a vision board of where we want to go and share it with other people so that we can develop and outline our next steps of how we can get there. And this brings us into week 4 of the Pisces lunar cycle with the last quarter moon in Capricorn. Week 4 of the lunar cycle brings us to the cycle point of choice. And as we leave the explorative and expansive fiery energy of Sagittarius, we enter into Capricorn. The last quarter moon is under the sign of Capricorn. And the theme of Capricorn is to build. How can we create a structure and a framework to support our visions moving forward and to continue to sustain our efforts and sustain our resources so that we are able to build the legacy that we are wishing to leave behind in this lifetime. The last quarter moon in Capricorn occurs on Saturday, March the 22nd, asking us to begin to make choices as to how we are going to follow through with the things that we are releasing and with the things that we are dreaming about bringing into reality by developing a framework for that, for that will allow us to show how we can use our own self authority and our own sense of self discipline to make our dreams come true. How are we going to start to build a foundation so that we can make sure that we have the resources we need and the time and the energy and all the things that we need in order to start putting this vision for real into the legacy that we're building behind. So, as we move through the rest of this week, this energy then shifts into our larger groupings of people and how we then are making choices in the way that we contribute to those groups and which groups we want to continue to contribute to that are in alignment with our goals and our visions moving forward. And lastly, the moon will revisit the sign of Pisces, where we started off this cycle 4 weeks ago, in order for us to see where we've come and what has transpired from those initial days of receiving information about what might be coming up to be released and what certainly was coming up in terms of what we wanted to start nurturing and growing and exploring. Having moved through the exploratory and expansive energies of Sagittarius, the last quarter moon in Capricorn now calls for decisive choices about who and what is going to be a part of our long term vision and the legacy that we're trying to leave behind. This phase of the Pisces lunar cycle is emphasizing reflection and alignment of those things that we've been pursuing so that we can start to find ways to build them into our solid foundation for our future growth. Capricorn requires structure and discipline. And it asks that we refine the systems and the processes that we have in our life that help us to, build this foundation and the legacy that we're building. And it asks us to revisit that so that we can now really incorporate the new ideas and the new visions that we have. And now that there's some tangible reality, now that we've worked through all 4 weeks of the cycle, and we can actually start to see what it's going to look like to bring our dreams to fruition. Pisces working with Capricorn energy is the healer working with the achiever. The achiever is enterprising and striving, disciplined and responsible, patient and purposeful, reserved and cautious. Not necessarily the characteristics that you will find with Pisces underwater freedom of going beyond all limits and going to explore beyond what is all known. So, Capricorn asks that we build some structure around those dreams and around the vision so that it can be brought into our reality and left behind with our legacy. Capricorn asks that we refine our foundation. At this stage, it's important for us to determine which projects and partnerships are aligned with our long term vision and which ones are no longer serving the legacy that we're trying to build. It's important for us to let go of those distractions and obligations that don't support our sustainable growth over time. And also, it's important for us to identify the areas that need more efficiency or stability so that we can implement changes and create a stronger foundation for our future success. Capricorn encourages long term goals and actionable steps to get there. Break down our visions into achievable milestones with deadlines that will help us to ensure steady progress. It's important for us to establish habits that will support the endurance and the resilience to get us there. And it's also important for us to reinforce our long term stability by showing up for our responsibilities each and every time with intention and dedication. In these last days of the Pisces lunar cycle, Capricorn is asking that we reevaluate our legacy. It wants us to identify the projects and the people who contribute positively to our growth. And it asks that we look within to find out what is the actual impact that we want to leave behind and what adjustments might be necessary to ensure that we're building something that's lasting and meaningful. It's also an opportunity for us to establish ways to help us keep track of our progress and establish what milestones and where they are so that we can measure our growth over time, which will keep us motivated and keep us going. As the moon shifts into Aquarius, it's asking for detached reflection on the groups that we align with and the contributions that we make within those groups. At the stage of the Pisces lunar cycle, the idea of the people and the things and the places that we are releasing in order to move forward into new potentials and new possibilities, it's important at this time for us to really take a look at the different groups we belong to see if they are not necessarily completely in alignment, but at least to be in support of the things that we want to create. And if there's room for us still to support each other and contribute to each other's efforts, regardless of having direct connections to certain personal goals. It urges innovation, progress, and the refinement of our ideas and systems while releasing anything that's outdated, any outdated commitments that are no longer serving us or evolving our vision. This phase asks for us to let go of our past experiences and expectations in order to create space for new collaborations and opportunities that do align with our growth. Pisces with Aquarius is the healer and the visionary. The visionary is independent and innovative, humanitarian and communal, intellectual and methodical, detached and unconventional. When the visionary is swimming in Pisces' boundless, limitless, dreamy, visionary waters, it's quite happy to continue to explore. And it also has this brilliant capacity to detach from emotions and able to see the bigger picture. The visionary Aquarius, its air, its mental energy allows us to look at the collective vision of everybody. So when we talk about how we are involved within our groups of people and how we are sharing our specific interests and working together towards common goals and common interests, it's important that we also still recognize that each person has their own path and their own interests and their own goals, and it doesn't take away from some of our experiences with those people. It's just choosing and understanding how to work with our resources and how to work with those groups of people in order to make sure that we're able to use all of the resources that we have at our disposal to support our goals while still staying in alignment and staying in support of the greater good. Aquarius encourages us to evaluate our current associations, especially at this stage of the Pisces lunar cycle, where we're looking at how we can release in order to create more and to grow beyond that potential that we once thought was our only potential. So, as we take the time to reflect on the groups and the networks that we are currently involved in, we can consider whether their goals and their values align with our own and whether or not they support our growth, even if they're not in that full alignment. If certain groups are not in alignment and they don't hold similar visions, it might be time to release those ties to make room for new or more aligned collaborations. And as we embrace new collaborations, we then have this opportunity to be mindful in seeking out others that have similar goals and values to us. We can network with those who have fresh perspectives and who we feel bring innovative solutions to the table, things that are outside the box that we haven't yet experienced or we haven't yet had the appreciation for because we haven't gotten there yet. We've never been able to think that way. We need other people to bring those thoughts to us. We can align ourselves with forward thinking people that help to create a stronger foundation for bringing our ideas to life. Aquarius focuses on innovation. It likes to take what you're used to, the systems that we work with, and then it wants to evolve them and progress them and make them better to work stronger for us. At this point, we can reconsider and adjust our vision with innovative solutions that help us to ensure that they reflect our true goals. We can also release attachments to anything in terms of what we thought they should have been or how it should have unfolded, and that will allow us to be flexible with our plans moving forward into coming up with new ideas. Also, we can embrace new possibilities that are in harmony with our ever changing ideas. We don't need to be stagnant. We want to remain open and we want to remain in tune with what's going on around us so we can pick up different ideas and adapt and remain flexible as we move forward. The humanitarian energy of Aquarius really does allow us to use that discernment and step away from our ego and our emotion in order to see the greater good and the potential for us all, which brings us into Pisces, coming back to its very placement at the end of this lunar cycle. As Pisces comes back into this area of our chart, we are given the opportunity to reflect on the insights that have been gained, the dreams envisioned, and the foundational changes that have been made to align us with our long term goals. The next 11 months will continue to unfold all of these energies. And on a larger scale, much like the lunar eclipse in Virgo that we experienced 2 weeks ago, this energy is also part of a longer 18-month and 18-year cycle that is just beginning at this point in time. We are only now realizing the things that are not going to serve us moving forward over the next chapter of our lives. And it's important for us to hone in on these dreams and these visions and start to bring them into reality. What now at these final stages are we choosing to let go of? What do we believe in our hearts that we can no longer fear? We can let go of those insecurities. We can take a leap of faith and go after the things that we have dreamt about being possible. Because if we have dreamed it, that means that it is entirely possible for us to create it. As Pisces meets her mirror image of 4 weeks ago, it is this opportunity to sit back and choose to swim in those waters with her, look back at everything and all around her, at all the potential, at all of the experiences that she has had with all of the people, and really start to dream and see beyond it now that we have a full understanding of everybody's perspective and of everybody's visions and where we fit within everybody's visions and how everybody fits within ours. How will we now step forward into the next cycle of development, especially at this crucial time where we are about to enter into a whole new cycle of development with the new moon in Aries? How can we look right now at this moment in time as the healer with compassion, with empathy? How can we continue to use our dreaminess and our imagination? How can we remain adaptable and versatile? And how can we deepen our intuition and our spirituality in order to allow ourselves to take that leap and move beyond what we once thought was the only thing or the only level that we were able to accomplish in our dreams. And now we are able to see beyond that. We are able to see what is possible for us. How are we going to do that? And what are we going to do with it? In closing out this cycle, we can take the opportunity to release and clear space, let go of any lingering attachments to people, commitments, or habits that don't support our growth, declutter our physical spaces to create room for new energy and opportunities, and organize or restructure our workflow and our schedules to prioritize for efficiency. Now is the time to commit to your vision. Recognize that shifts are unfolding not just over the next 11 months, but also the next 18 months and the next 18 years and beyond. Identify key changes that you've committed to so far and set intentions for how you can continue to implement those. Create a roadmap for the next 11 months that will help you to keep track of your progress and track your goals as you move towards the next year and the next cycle that we can continue to improve upon and play this chapter out. At this stage, honor the transition. Engage in spiritual practices like meditation, breathwork, or energy cleansing to help you integrate the lessons that have been learned, not just over the last 4 weeks, but over the entire 11 months that have come before we embark on another cycle. This is the last zodiac sign of the zodiac year. It's an opportunity for us to envision the themes and the areas of life that we want to focus on in the next cycles to come. Set intentions with patience, knowing that gradual progress will lead you to sustainable success. The halfway point of the longer version of this Pisces lunar cycle will be 6 months from now when we are traveling through the sign of Virgo. That will be a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces, which will shed full light on all the intentions and all the things that we have set into motion at this period of time. So take note right now of the relationships and the people the places and the things that we have started to release, and take note of the dreams that have started to filter into our actual living experience, and reflect back 6 months from now to see how they are showing up, how we are showing up in those practices. As well, at that time, it's really going to be calling on testing new systems, new schedules, new ways of taking care of ourselves that will be supporting those. And again, this is all part of eclipse energy. We'll have another eclipse season 6 months from now in the fall. And these energies are really about solidifying what it is that needs to be released. And it's also about solidifying where we're going to that's fated for us. These are things that we're meant to go towards, and we feel them within us. That's what those dreams are telling us, and that's why we're going to go after them. The dreams that we have are meant for us. It's up to us to go after them and reach them. For now, the moon will continue on its journey, entering into Aries and beginning an entirely new cycle of development that will take us through the month of April and focus on the theme of spark. For now, the moon will continue on its journey, entering into Aries and beginning an entirely new cycle of development that will take us through the month of April and focus on the theme of spark. For now, Aries spark is the fire that will ignite the change that is going to take us through a whole year of development that will move us through every single area of our chart. But this first place of development begins with that really does focus on that which speaks to our how our assertiveness in this world, how we step into things, go after things that are calling to us, how we see that vision and see that dream and then go for it. Aries is an exciting month. It is the first month of the zodiac year. It is the beginning of spring. It is when life is coming back after the long dark winter, and I can't wait to share that cycle with you. This cycle will develop clarity around the sparks that have been ignited. It will help us to improve upon the boundaries that need to be set so that we can nurture the things we want to grow and protect them. It will help us take accountability for our relationships, how we are showing up, and how those relationships are running reciprocally. And it will also give us an opportunity to revisit where we are at the last stage of the Pisces cycle in terms of developing a framework for our legacy, developing a foundation, making choices that will support the legacy that we want to leave behind in this lifetime. So, what's next? How can you connect with me and dive deeper into the Cycle Points method? My content, courses, and programs are offered through the Maven's Call website. This is a platform dedicated to supporting women as they develop their creative processes and passionate callings into real life applications. You can find monthly lunar cycle videos outlining each of the 4 specific points we will be working with each month, along with weekly updates and tutorials over on YouTube. My podcast, Society's Daughter, comes out week 3 of every lunar cycle during the full moon phase. You can listen on YouTube and Substack, where you will also find newsletters and weekly articles. And if you're looking for quick tips or to message me directly, find me over on Instagram. If you're looking for a deeper dive into the astrological themes and how their energies can be woven into your own stories, you can register for my upcoming course, Archetypes of the Zodiac. Registration opens on February the 28th. Be the first of your sun sign to register, and I will send you a customized zodiac wallpaper. This course will help you rediscover your identity after major transitions such as parenthood, career shifts, or relationship changes. It will enhance your understanding of how your energy shows up in different areas of your life. It will create a framework to evolve your creativity and passions with confidence no matter what comes next. It will also help you reclaim your priorities and your personal sense of power. The course runs from March 29th through July 23rd and includes self-led modules for engaging with each zodiac archetype and how they relate to your life. There are journal prompts, guided meditations, plus a 60-minute live Q&A Zoom session on May the 20th, where I'm going to be answering your submitted questions. Set the date and a reminder in your calendars. I cannot wait to connect with you there and welcome you into the Cycle Point community. Thank you for being with me today, and happy dreaming.